Hi guys, this is Busco. Welcome back to another video. In the last video, we ranked the songs off of Van Halen's final album, A Different Kind of Truth. Now we're going to be ranking their albums. We're finally going to be ranking all 12 of Van Halen's albums. And for me, the bottom part of the list wasn't too difficult. The top half was. Because in my opinion, their albums, they can switch with a lot. And, especially in the top half. The bottom half wasn't that hard, to be honest, but this is actually pretty difficult doing because Van Halen is a band with a lot of great albums. And some are better than others, you know what I'm talking about if you watch the series. But, yeah, we're going to be ranking the albums today, and then tomorrow we're going to be ranking the album covers, hopefully, if that'll happen. And then I need to make the list on my 10 favorite EVH guitar solos. And then, if any, maybe some honorable mentions. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, coming in at the bottom, at number 12, I don't know how to be honest, for any Van Halen fan, I don't know, how this can be any higher than the bottom. Oh yeah, and before I get into this is just my personal opinion, so you don't need to get angry. Make sure you post your ranking in the comments below, because this is why I love doing this. I love hearing everyone else's opinions on what your take on Van Halen's albums are. So this is just my opinion. I'm just prefacing that. You don't have to get angry. But let's get into this. So coming in at number 12, as I was saying before, I don't know how this album can't be at the bottom of anyone's Van Halen list. Coming in at the bottom is Van Halen 3, released on March 13th, 1988. The only album, or 1998, sorry. The only album featuring their third singer, Gary Cherone. This album sucks. It's awful. There's not a single good song on this album, in my opinion. Had a few singles, some even had music videos, Without You had a music video, Fire in the Hole had a music video, and, I don't think there's a single good song on this album. If you would ask me the three best songs on there, like I said once, Fire in the Hole, Ballad of the Bullet, the better songs on the album, but they're mediocre at best, in my opinion. I don't think there's a single good song, everything else, How Many Say I is the worst Van Halen song, in my opinion. From Afar is awful. Dirty Water Dog's awful. Josephina is just terrible. And, there's even more, there's a lot of bad, there's interludes that are boring and pretty bad, but Van Halen 3 is just an awful album, in my opinion, and for most people's opinions. I honestly don't think there's a single Van Halen fan who wouldn't put Van Halen 3 at the bottom. So coming in at number 12 is Van Halen 3. Coming in at number 11, I may get some flack for this, because this album does have quite a few fans. But coming in at number 11 is Balance, released on January 14th, 1995. Now, here's the thing. This has always been my least favorite, Sammy Hagar, album from the band. And, here's the thing. It's not awful or anything. I just don't think it's good. However, there are some really good songs, I will admit. Can't Stop Loving You's great. Not Enough is one of my favorites. Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do. Take Me Back, Deja Vu. A lot of really good songs. Amsterdam, Big Fat Money, really good stuff. But the problem is, there's more interludes, strung out that pretty bad, Eddie Van Halen thing, and which was, this was recorded in the 80s, and, in the early 80s, like when DLR was still in the band, and, I cannot just imagine this making it on 1984. That would make the album, that would be one reason why part of the album has its weaknesses, because of that. If it were on 1984, but it wasn't, so we don't have to worry about that. And Doing Time, that other interlude, that Alex Van Halen drum solo is okay. That instrumental that I can't pronounce. It's like Baluch Ethereum or something like that. I don't know. It's a really strange title. But yeah, Balance has its moments, and it can be fun at times. The Seventh Seal isn't bad. That song, in fact, has grown on me, even though I was never really a huge fan of that. Aftershock isn't that bad. So, it's, not a bad album, I will say, but not really one of my favorites. And, yeah, this album does have its fans. Some people say it's the best Van Hagar album. And there are actually some people who will say it's Van Halen's best album. Now, this is just, and that's your opinion, and I fully respect your opinion, but I disagree because I don't think it's in my opinion, again, not bad, but in my opinion, not very good. So coming in at number 11, Balance. Maybe, maybe in the future the album will grow on me like a little slightly, but I'm not sure. But for now, it stays at number 11. Coming in at number 10 is For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, released on June 17th, 1991. This is an album that has grown on me. I already did like some songs. Right Now is a favorite of mine. I love Judgment Day. I love Pleasure Dome. I love The Dream Is Over. I love Pound Cake. I love Man on a Mission's really good. Top of the World is great. In and Out is really cool. The really, really good album. Even 316. The only songs I'm not really crazy about on that album are Spanked and Runaround. Those two haven't really done it for me, but everything else is really good in my opinion. So, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is really solid in my opinion. That's an album that's really grown on me a lot. And I don't hate any of the Hagar Era stuff. And like I said, Balance isn't awful at all. But in my opinion, it's not that good in my opinion. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is an album that I always thought at first was okay, but this album really has grown on me a lot. So coming in at number 10 is For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Coming in at number 9, unfortunately their last album, A Different Kind of Truth, released on February 7th, 2012. This album is really cool, and this is back with David Lee Roth and without Michael Anthony on bass, and they get Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen's son, to play on bass, and they make this album. This is a collection of songs from their early period. I can easily see some stuff from this album being on the first two albums. I can imagine that. And if you would forget that awful opener, Tattoo, which is easily a bottom 5 Van Halen song, that song sucks in my opinion, and that one of the most hated Van Halen songs from what I heard, and I don't like it at all. It's pretty bad. Actually, it is bad. It's really bad. But if you forget Tattoo, if Tattoo didn't exist, I would be pretty fine with that. And everything else on the album is great. I love, She's the Woman is awesome. I can imagine that being on the debut or the second album. You and Your Blues is awesome. Stay Frosty, as is Chinatown, Bullethead, Big River, Blood and Fire, Beats Working, Out of Space. I can go on. That album, this is a really good album. And it's just from top to bottom. Well, again, if you forget Tattoo, which is awful, if Tattoo didn't exist and everything else, one of the best albums ever. Trust me. And and I know a lot of people there are some people who kind of neglect this album only because it's after everything else, like decades after. But this is a really good album. One of my favorite albums from 2012. So Different Kind of Truth gets a pass for me. I love that. So coming in at number 9, Different Kind of Truth. Coming in at number 8, Back to the Sammy Stuff. OU812, released on May 24th, 1988. This album really has grown on me a lot. I've always loved this album, and it's grown on me more so. But in a weird way, some parts of it have liked less. I've liked less, but Mine All Mine is a great opener. When It's Love, I know a lot of people give that song crap. I actually always had a soft spot for that. Cabo Wabo is one of the best Van Hagar era songs. Finish What You Started is great. Black and Blue has grown on me. In the beginning, I never really was a huge fan, but it has grown on me. Same thing with Sucker in a Three-Piece. Feels So Good is another favorite of mine. So yeah, on the whole, really good album. Great album, in my opinion. So coming in at number 8 is OU812. Coming in at number 7, excuse me. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Diver Down, released on April 14th, 1982. Now, I can obviously see why people would give this album crap. I always loved this album a lot, and always been my least favorite from the original David Lee Roth era of the band, especially in the original. But yeah, there are way too many covers, I will say. They did a lot of covers back in the day, but you can definitely tell on here, Where Have All the Good Times... Let's just look at the covers and then the original songs. Where Have All the Good Times Gone, or cover of the Kinks, awesome. Oh Pretty Woman is one of the best songs, one of their best covers, and especially with that intruder intro, that is awesome. And you also have Dancing in the Street, that was really good too. What else? There was, Big Bad Bill's Sweet William. Now, that was that half of this album is covers, half originals. Big Bad Bill's Sweet William. Now, yeah, it's silly. It's kind of enjoyable. It's kind of enjoyable. I can listen to that song, and it's actually pretty cool. But for Van Halen, pretty silly. But it has Eddie and Alex's father playing clarinet on that song. And the Full Bug, that one was okay. And Happy Trails is just a weak way to close the album. Everything else, though, Hang 'em High is one of my favorite Van Halen songs. That Cathedral thing is really cool. Secrets is really cool. I always like the jazzy fusion of that song, jazz, blues, whatever. What else? In my opinion, Diver Down is really good. Little Guitars is awesome. I really, and that intro also. So yeah, Little Guitars is really good, and Diver Down, I actually have a soft spot for. I know a lot of people, I can see why a lot of people would give it crap, but I personally love it a lot. So coming in at number 7 is Diver Down. Coming in at number 6, this one I really wanted to put in my top 5 because I love it so much. Coming in at number 6 is Fair Warning, released on April 29th, 1981. And this came out after, the first 3 albums, which, the first 2 albums had, a lot of emotions. Women and Children First had such an upbeat emotion. This album is dark. I love everything about it. Mean Street is a great opener, one of their best openers, with that incredible guitar riff in the beginning with Eddie. One of the best solos of all time. Also, Dirty Movies is great with the quotation mark Sinner Swing. Hear About It Later has grown on me a lot. And if you had asked me years ago, that would be one of my least favorite songs off that album. Now I think it's one of the best songs off that album. Hear About It Later is awesome. Unchained, one of top 10 Van Halen song for me. I love that early, DLR stuff. That is such a great song. Push Comes to Shove, really reggae. So This Is Love is great, and then you have the 2 instrumentals, or no, not the 2 instrumentals, the 2 closers, Sunday Afternoon in the Park, which is an instrumental, and then you have One Foot Out the Door with a great EVH guitar solo. Those 2 have grown on me a little bit, but Fair Warning's a great album, in my opinion, but it comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, as we enter the top 5, I'm going to go with Van Halen 2, released on March 23rd, 1979. What a great follow up to their debut, which, well, you haven't seen on the list yet, but Van Halen 2 I always loved. I love every song on there. You're No Good is great cover. They did a lot of covers back in the day. Dance the Night Away is one of my favorite Van Halen songs. Somebody Get Me a Doctor and Bottoms Up are underrated. Out of Love Again is great. Light Up the Sky, probably in my opinion the most underrated Van Halen song. What else? Spanish Fly is a little sister song to Eruption, really. I always viewed that as. DOA is one of my all-time favorite Van Halen songs. Probably a top 10 contender or something like that. And Women in Love is great, and one of the best album closers of all time, Beautiful Girls, which is just incredible. So on the whole, Van Halen 2 is a masterpiece in my opinion. So it comes in at number 5, and yeah, it could flip-flop. But for now, I'm going to put the follow-up as number 4, Women and Children First, released on March 26, 1980. Another great follow-up. Van Halen 2 was a follow-up to the debut, and this is a follow-up to Van Halen 2, which I think is even better. Van Halen 2 could rank higher at times, but for now, Women and Children First comes here. I have always loved this album, and The Cradle Will Rock is awesome. Everybody Wants Some is one of my all-time favorites. Fools is really underrated. Same thing with Romeo Delight. That Tora interlude, which, love it or hate it. Loss of Control, I know why people give that song crap. I always kind of liked it. Take Your Whiskey Home. I heard that played often on the radio when Eddie Van Halen died. That song a lot. Could This Be Magic was another one I heard on the radio. Another great song. And In a Simple Rhyme with that growth ending at the end with that hidden track. Incredible. So Women and Children First comes in at number 4. All right, the top three. Coming in at number three, this album is just really special to me. Coming in at number three is 5150, released on March 24th, 1986. My favorite from the Sammy Hagar era, and a lot of people's favorites. You know, it could be any album from the Sammy era, but I love this album a lot. And this came out after 1984, after David Lee Roth left the band, and like what David's leaving the band, and then Sammy enters the band, and then this comes out. Incredible album. Good Enough is a great opener. Why Can't This Be Love? A great pop tune for the band, and it was on the radio. Even before Eddie passed away, I heard that on the radio constantly. What else? Get Up is great. Dreams, that's another really big hit for the band. I love Dreams, one of my favorite songs. I love the guitar solo in there. Summer Nights is really cool. Best of Both Worlds, another top 10 contender. My favorite Sammy Hagar song of all time in the band, Love Walks In. Such a special song, in my opinion. I love it a lot. And you have 5150, the title track, and Inside. They both close the album perfectly, in my opinion. On the whole, 5150 is one of my favorite Van Halen albums of all time. One of my favorite albums of all time. So it comes in at number three. These top two were really close. I had a hard time flip-flopping. But for now, coming in at number two, for most people, would probably be their number one. The self-titled debut released on February 10th, 1978. What a debut, man. This is one of the most important albums of all time in music history. One of the best debut albums of all time. It could be my favorite debut album of all time, either that or Are You Experienced by Jimi Hendrix Experience, or many others. There's many others out there, but there's something about this one that I love. It has a lot of hits. Running with the Devil opening it up. Eruption, that Eddie Van Halen guitar solo, which, blew my mind when I first heard it, still blows my mind today, and, again, it kind of gets me emotional, especially when I hear it today, because, Eddie's gone, and, it's really sad that he's gone, and, whenever I hear it, I just couldn't imagine how blown away everyone would be in the audience. You Really Got Me, probably their best cover, in my opinion. Ain't Talking About Love could be my favorite Van Halen song of all time, tied with another one that we'll get into later. I'm the One is underrated. Jamie's Crying is great. Atomic Punk I love. Feel Your Love Tonight is really underrated. Little Dreamer is really great. Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man is another incredible cover. And what could be my favorite EVH guitar solo, and probably a top 5 favorite guitar solo of all time, I'm not sure. Another underrated guitar solo and very popular. And On Fire, a great album closer. And on the whole, Van Halen's self-titled debut is a masterpiece, and I think we all know that. It's probably in everyone's top 5 favorite Van Halen albums. I don't know. It's your opinion. And if you're such a diehard Sammy fan, it probably wouldn't, but I'm not sure. But coming in at number 2 is a self-titled debut. But coming in at number 1 for me, this album is just awesome, in my opinion. 1984, released on January 9th, 1984. This is the last album with the original lineup, and it's just such a great album. It's so incredible. I love everything about it. The title track opens it up really cool, telling you that we're going to be a synth band. And, I'm going to explain this again. You can kind of tell on Women and Children First, on And the Cradle Will Rock, Eddie brought in the electric piano. And then they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. And Fair Warning came along, and the last 2 tracks had synthesizers, like, oh, they're going to be a synth band now? And then on Diver Down, with the Intruder synthesizer thing, you could hear. And on here, you can definitely tell. And especially in the early half of the Sammy Hagar, they're a synth band. And it worked for me. I love this album a lot. It has 3 of the band's biggest hits. Jump. Overplayed as it is, I can still listen to it. Panama. Panama is one of my favorite Van Halen songs. I might like it more than Jump. I'm not sure. Actually, in the ranking video, I think I said I did. Not by much, though. They're both great. And it has underrated songs. Top Jimmy. Top Jimmy is awesome. One of my favorite guitar solos also. Drop Dead Legs, one of my favorite deep cuts from the band. What could be my favorite Van Halen song of all time, Hot for Teacher, even though it is overplayed, I can still listen to it. I'll Wait. That was another pretty big hit from the band. Not as big as the other 3 I mentioned, but I'll Wait has always been a favorite of mine. What was it? Girl Gone Bad is another one I love, another underrated song. I love the guitar in it. And House of Pain, one of the best album closers of all time. And yeah, 1984 is just one of my favorite. It is my favorite Van Halen album. One of my favorite albums of all time. Maybe a top 20 album. I'm not sure. But yeah, 1984 is my number one. Here's my list. I hope you guys can see that. I know it looks like there's fingerprints on there, and you can see my phone cracked. That kind of sucks. But anyway, that was me ranking all of Van Halen's albums. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be ranking Van Halen's album covers, and then we'll do top 10 EVH guitar solos. When I make the list, I gotta make that at least tonight because I just need to get on that. And yeah, that was Van Halen's albums. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you really love Balance? And do you really hate Diver Down or something like that? You know, would you rank, what I'm trying to say, would you rank Balance a lot higher than I did, or would you rank Diver Down a lot lower than I ranked it? And it's just my opinion, so you don't need to get mad, but I'd like to hear your opinion, so please comment down below. Please leave a like, comment if you want, view my videos, and of course subscribe. Hit the bell also. Thanks for watching this video, guys. This has been Halbuska, signing off. Stay safe, take care.